and other barbaric, uncivilized teachings that make you feel like you deserve to live as slaves in your own country, if you have any country at all. So the news of regional system hits them so hard, and they have reacted pretty much like, the same. And some of them are now saying that Tinubu deceived them, that Tinubu has a plan. In fact, they are already putting together a delegate from northern Nigeria to go and see Tinubu so that he can reassure them that there is no plan to push for regionalism. Here is something you should know that is triggering all of this. They are not false alarms. They are real alarms. And they are good. This is good that it is happening now. Okay? So, pay attention. At first, whatever the calculation was that made them believe that Tinubu, who said his priority was to return Nigeria back to anthem. Sorry about that break, I think it's the network acting up. Let me take a look. Just a quick one to be sure that everything is fine. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think we're all good. Right. Tinubu that did not consult with anyone at all, as it is the case whenever you are trying to amend a constitution. Now, you can raise a bill, okay, about anything in Nigeria Senate, but that bill you are about to raise, it must be investigated that there is no law that is existing before that your bill. Now, if there is any law that is existing before that your bill, what you will now propose is going to be a bill to amend that law, that section of the law, okay? So if you succeed, right, your new proposal will now be copied and pasted, replaced with the one you are changing. So that will now be the one they will be quoting, okay? Now, Nigerians were never consulted when they were writing this Decree 24, 1999 Constitution. No consultation, no referendum conducted, no public hearing, nothing. So it was the creation of the military and few guys. Now, Tinubu, who is supposed to be a democratic government, right? He wanted to change the national anthem. But the process of changing the national anthem of Nigeria means you have to change the constitution. You have to amend the constitution. Okay? So then what you do is that you raise a bill like they did at the National Assembly. Once the Rep and the Senate, once they pass it like they did, then they will forward it to all of the states in Nigeria. So the state assemblies. Now, the state assemblies would also have to vote on it. They will pass it. Once the 2/3 of them pass it, right? That is 24 states, right? They will now send it back to the National Assembly. That moment, somebody will now move a motion to amend that section of the Constitution, the national anthem. So once they now pass that, but before it gets to, as it gets to all of the states, by the way, they must have put up what is called the public hearing, which means all of you will go there and go and say your mind, or you go and hear their reason for why they want to return you back to the old anthem and all of that stuff, okay? So once you satisfy and all of that, you will now reach out to your representatives to support it or to be against it. Now, if they now vote National Assembly, they now pass it, okay? That means the National Assembly have done their own public hearing. So that's when they will now send it to the states. When the states now get to the states, all of you who are in different states in Nigeria, then the state assembly will now announce that you should come more. There's an amendment conversation that is going to take place about the national anthem. So everybody in their different states, they will go to the state assembly, okay, to go and listen and hear their own view. If they support it or against it, they will tell their representatives and their assembly members to vote for it or against it. Now, if 24 states out of 36 states in Nigeria say yes, change the national anthem, that has passed. So they will now send it back to the National Assembly. National Assembly will now vote and move a motion to pass it and change it. And then they will now send it to the president. The president will then consult again and say, does this come back as we wanted it? Yeah, he did. He will now sign it. So a president can raise a bill, since Tinubu said that was his own priority. He wanted it, Abi. So he will raise an executive bill, send it to the National Assembly. Okay? So they didn't do all of this. Okoyemi Bamidele he was the one who brought it into the National Assembly. The moment they voted on it, and some of them said no, the Highs still had it. So once the Highs have it, right, they send it to Tifnumbu to sign it, and they said everybody should start singing it. That is not how to pass law. Now, some of them from northern Nigeria, these northern influencers on social media, they actually supported it. Not all of them. Yes, the old anthem is is going to bring unity. It's going to shake Kineko. They ignored the illegality behind it. Now they are scared, hearing that an act has been developed for regional system of government, and it went viral on social media. And somehow, it is already being discussed within the Old Rock. It's already been discussed at the National Assembly. And some of them are beginning to feel like it is real. And because of this, it has now thrown the northern Arewa parasites into a total restlessness, kind of panic mode. Even though it hasn't been officially confirmed, right? But they are worried that this Tifnumbu will get anything he wants. And because they knew what happened last year, they believe that their House of Representatives, senators from northern Nigeria, with the right money, they will support it too. They may go back to their region and begin to tell them that they had no choice, they had no option, this and that. They are now panicking that if Tinubu could smuggle regional system back into Nigeria Senate and get it passed with Akpabiole and Abbas, the stooge of Tinubu, the people that were supposed to be born to rule, they are scared. I pick up few screenshots earlier. Take a look at this Almajiri. To think that some people from a region where bandits can take over entire villages, control forests, and where people pay taxes to bandits to access their farms or be allowed to live peacefully in their villages, are advocating for a regional system of government, makes me sick. That's one of them. He couldn't believe it that some people in northern Nigeria are actually in support of the idea. Not that this support is more, it's well pronounced though, but it be like say the idea is spreading. And with this Tifnumbu that they now say they don't trust, he has betrayed them. They tend to kind of have been in a panic mode right now, that their people could even entertain that thought. One of them said, these people destroyed northern Nigeria. They destroy our farms. They know that northern Nigeria depends on agriculture. And the agriculture is now gone. Yeah? They are now talking about regional system. We must not agree. One of them said, they know that Nigeria was developed with agricultural money from northern Nigeria. So now that some people now have oil, they want to break up Nigeria and destroy all of their own farms. I told you, these were the people who have this superior mentality, kind of, we are more superior than you. Nothing what you do, we are going to always rule over you. Kind of that mentality from a poor Alibajiri from somewhere in Sokoto. I'm talking about the people who usually brag of how the Igbo people are going to suffer if Nigeria should break up. And suddenly, they are now victims. The people that said Buhari must go is a threat against northern Nigeria. When thousands of people were being killed, kidnapped, and the entire economy of the northern Nigeria was being destroyed by Boko Haram, by Fulani terrorists, by ISWAP. The people that said criticizing Buhari is like an attack on northern Nigeria. The people that told you that the ban on open grazing is an attack on northern Nigeria. The same people who watched the Fulani terrorists destroy farms, who watched Boko Haram killed and destroyed farms, killed farmers and destroyed farms. The people that watches their people pay taxes to terrorists under Boko Haram, and they said a dead Boko Haram is better than anybody from southern Nigeria leading Nigeria. They watched Boko Haram pardon terrorists. They said nothing. Now they are victims. Who destroyed northern Nigeria? Hello? Who destroyed northern Nigeria? The rest of you who are not armed Boko Haram terrorists, but Islamic jihadists, killing people for saying something against your religion and justifying same, defending pedophiles, defending child rapists in the name of your religion. Same thing that the Boko Haram are doing, cutting heads off. You were there, you watched all of this happen. Now you are victims because they are talking about regional system of government. Take a look at this one. No this, no peace. The North made Tifnumbu president despite his past record. Why are you now acting like you are not aware of his agendas? Is this not what you have voted for? You don't want regional government, but you voted for a regional champion. So this is the sign of saying they were deceived by Tifnumbu. So Ugochukwu said, Northern group are not happy that Southerners see them as parasites. Restructure Nigeria, they say no. Change constitution, they say no. Amend constitution, they say no. Regional government, they say no. State police, they say no. Referendum, they say no. Here is another one. This one said, it is a capital no for regional governments. Why Arewa is in this situation? Because it was when Arewa was doing better than any other regions, the regional government was abolished. And now that Arewa is facing challenges, they want us to return to that system. Ain't no way. Another one responded, Nigeria is going back to regional system. Middle Belt territories will either go as one region or any other arrangement that we, the people, deem fit for us. Going back to 4 regional system is a no-no. And the Middle Belt will never join Arewa to form a region block. Voila, today say, another one. I never believed that day, that a day like this will come. I thought it was Igbos and Southeast. Regionalism, Nigeria dividing, one of them will happen one day, and Undigbo will benefit a lot. That was coming from a Fulani saying the Igbos are now going to be the ones to benefit if Nigeria break. The people who said the Igbos are going to suffer, they are changing their mouth now that they are the ones who will suffer. And because they will suffer, they would rather just not let that happen. Here is another one. When the so-called restructuring or resource control happens, it will affect Lagos too, as Lagos prosperity mostly relies on the ports. With restructuring, Southeast and South-South states will use South-South ports. Northern states can opt to either Benin Republic or Togo ports, which are deeper, which are cheaper. Wahala. So here is another one. Southeast will be the greatest beneficiary of restructuring if it ever happens. These are Northern guys having a conversation about what is now the reality. Okay? Now, the Igbos are no longer landlocked. The Igbos that they told you for years that they are landlocked, even when the reality, even when the map says otherwise, the Fulanis redrew the map of Nigeria to put the Igbos in the middle, cut the Igbos and make them minority in many of your states, in southern and even the middle belt part of Nigeria, as far as Benue State, Kogi. Now, they did all of this with the intention of ruling Nigeria in perpetuity. And the Igbos, they will never have the chance of saying they want to break up of Nigeria. Now, the Igbos are not the ones who are now pushing it at the national level right now to break up the Nigeria. It is we, the Yorubas. That draft that you are reading is developed by Akin Fakpounda. Akinpa Fakpounda that wrote that is a Yoruba man. Now, the Arewa North that told you that the Igbos were landlocked, now they are the ones who are now landlocked. They are the ones who are now going to be like Niger, like Chad, like Mali. They would have to now start making deals with countries who have seaports. The people who have to see, you see how lies can travel for decades. But you see, reality is going to set in for all of us. You see, the older generation that lied to all of us, they are already dying away. I am telling you, the only thing they are leaving behind for you is bigotry. But guess what? Reality is going to set in. And you are going to know later that this Nigeria is a lie. It's what? It is a lie. But they would say it themselves. You will stop lying to yourself at some point. And don't ever bring Yorubas into it. If you want to go to Benin Republic, to go and use the Benin port, that's your business. At least, Niger Republic is using Nigeria and Benin Republic seaports. So if Arewa want to use, and as for the people of the Middle Belt, they are the descendants of the Nigeria Civil War, Nigeria Genocidal War, from that part of Nigeria too. They don't want to have anything to do with Arewa North. And guess what? When this whole conversation goes down, you see the Hausas, they allow themselves to be referred to as Hausa Fulani. They will come boldly and tell you the Hausas, they are not Fulani. If you want to be Fulani, be Fulani. If you want to be Hausa, be Hausa. There is nothing called Northern Nigeria. There is nothing called Southern Nigeria. We are talking about, cluster of ethnic groups, tribes, who have names. Yeah? When you go to the Middle Belt, you will see the Jokuns, you will see the Tifis, you will see the Beroms, you will see the Agatus, you will see the, they have names. When you go to Northern Nigeria, you will see the Hausas, you will see the Kanuris, you will see the Fulanis, who only make just about 9% of the population of that Arewa North itself. Do you know that? Everybody go bear their papa name. Don't be afraid. So the story they told you of Nigeria, of Northern Nigeria feeding Southern Nigeria. before they discover crude oil. It's another blatant lie. A blatant lie that even right now, those who know the truth or those who have lived long enough they should not be spreading that lie. Northern Nigeria was a parasite, has always been a parasite. It has always, right, been so incompetently managed. Historically, Northern Nigeria is the reason why the rest of Nigeria is called the poverty capital of the world. The colonial masters then, the British, they were running at loss, running the operation of Northern Nigeria. Yes, they were. To the point that the colonial office was requesting for money so that they could be able to manage Northern Nigeria, to balance up their budget yearly. And one of the motivated reasons why Northern Nigeria was merged with Southern Nigeria. And at a point, at least it's on record now, 1914, just same year, before that too, on January 1, 1901, when Lugard took over the northern part of Nigeria as the administrator, and they moved to merge the whole country together 14 years later, be gone. There were letters where it was written for a request from Southern Nigeria colonial office to loan them over £1 million. This is on record. There was nowhere on record, anywhere in history, never anywhere in the archive where they said Northern Nigeria gave this amount of money for anything in Southern Nigeria, ever. Not a single one. And neither Southern Nigeria nor Northern Nigeria spent a dime in developing oil exploration in Nigeria. And that is why Nigeria never really owns our own oil. It's always owned by Britain and other partners who brought in their equipment to develop all of those oil platforms you see in Nigeria. Nigeria didn't spend a dime. It is part of the nonsense that they feed their people, that gave them the sense of entitlement that is never factual. British Shell and the rest of them, they developed the oil industry in Nigeria. They developed all of the oil platforms. And that is why what Nigeria collects from oil is called royalty. So where was Northern Nigeria going to get the money from? To develop the oil industry in Nigeria. Then, where? From which what? Oh, we had Granite Pyramid. Your Granite Pyramid actually predated independence. And there were those that were completely taken out of Nigeria. And since 1960, your successive leaders, your emirs, your sultans, the military head and the rest of them, they've ensured that no single investment is actually really truly done on agriculture in Northern Nigeria. At least if they did, you should not be worrying in taking care of yourselves. So you see, the region that they said will be landlocked, the region that they told you will suffer because of the artificial states that they created, is the region now they feel like it's going to enjoy more. The reality, Baba, facts is stubborn gone. Do you know that? Facts, very, very stubborn. Nigeria is going to break up. Wumi Dada, look at me very well. Nigeria will break up. Everybody will still have to find their bearing. Okay? And I am not saying that if Tinubu is going to make that happen, but if he's going to be the one to trigger it, the way he's already triggering you right now, well, so be it. But I know it's pretty much like, testing the water for something bigger that is about to be introduced. Here is another one where some of them felt like, we said, as a northerner, I will never support regional government. For the past 64 years of independence, what does North gain in terms of political, economic, and educational development? In every aspect, the North were left behind. Our North region is the most retrogressive region in the country. So let's build North before any regional government. So build North with what and with whose resources? With whose money? You better begin to try and cough whatever you can actually cough out of Nigeria as we speak. Because, yes, several times people have had this conversation, and several times a lot of you believe that it's not going to happen. But with a lawless criminal like Tifnumbu, then you should not sleep and close your eyes. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, Tifnumbu is being considered as a personal non grata in northern Nigeria, and he is being declared as the anti-North and somebody that is likely going to divide Nigeria, but not the way you want it to be divided, but the way Tifnumbu wanted it to be divided. And that is creating a confusion that for the first time, the supposed born to rule northern Nigeria, they are worried.